Obviamente o te kudasai. Anata ka bido o erebo node akira kana rifu o miru koto o sentaku shimasu. O tanobasisi kudasai. Now, let's see how many people will actually complain about my use of Japanese in that last sentence. One of these days, I just really got to enjoy reading this whole entire chapter in Japanese. Until then, kono hidoi serata no desu no preretsu o tanoshide kudasai. Mercury and Link used the warp point Link made to get back to the main chamber quickly. There, only one last ledge they hadn't explored, and one on the third floor with the dog statue. You used warp points? So there you go, son. All I did once in a while was just go back the way I came until I came back to the entrance. Used that chance to farm up some hearts that I might have lost during my fights. But first, he had to raise the wire back to the top so the statue would rise up, allowing him to hook shot over. Once in the ledge, he entered through a door and saw the big boss door with the huge locks and chains. All the way up, the step slot was spiky, spinning blades, moving from side to side at different heights of the slope. Be careful, Link said. Don't let those spikes hit you, and don't stop, even for a second, or you'll slip. But Master... But Link was already bounding his way up the slope. He skidded a few times and almost got hit by the spikes, but he made it. Come on, Mercury, come on! Mercury drew in a deep breath. Here goes, ellipses. Oh, I forgot to mention, ellipses. She cried and began to rush up the slope too. Hurry, hurry! What is this? Fanfic read by Red Brown? Mercury made it 2/3 of the way up, but suddenly she slipped and her foot got caught in a cheap piece of rock. Let me go. She cried as she struggled to pull free, but it wasn't working. Worst of all, ellipses, there was a spike heading straight towards her. Well, ellipses, he's coming right for me, she squealed. Grab him! Link called as he stretched out his hand. So he grabbed it and he pulled as hard as he could. Come on! He cried. With one giant tug, ellipses, he got her out just before the spike barely touched her. That's as close as I ever want to cut it. Now that they were both safely up, and Link had the key. Ready! Mercury nodded. Let's do this. So Link unlocked the door and both walked inside. Meanwhile, back at the resort, ellipses, a lot of people were up already due to the fact that it was pretty chilly. So chilly that some of the radiators had icicles in them. The girls at Darien were already up, and were keeping alert not to let anyone notice that Link and Amy were still inside the water temple. So far, no one had gone outside to observe the lake. But there was just one thing, though. Most of the families at the resort were already planning to leave, including Serena's folks. They didn't mention anything about Ami and Link, but what they did say was that they wanted to make sure everyone was ready to go by 7. Oh, let's see, I hope they're hearing back it soon, cried Serena. So do I, Eric Darien. I hope they're okay, ellipses. Back at the water temple, ellipses. The boss room was about 100 feet square. It was hip, too, with spikes on the wall near the floor, and hookshot targets along the higher walls. At the center of the room consisted of a large pool of water, about 70 feet square, with 4 large pillars in the center. So far, everything was there, ellipses. Everything, except the balls. Where is he? Link asked as he searched by the pool. Mercury used her visor to look around as he gasped. Master, look out! That water isn't normal over there, she cried. She came over, and she and Link looked at the water all confused. Well, ellipses, it did look slightly darker than ordinary water, ellipses, but it felt like ordinary water. It had no smell like ordinary water, so what made it different? Link suddenly felt something tap on his shoulder. Mercury, not now, he said, irritated. Mercury looked up. Not now what? She asked. What are you talking about? Link was all confused. I don't get it. Didn't you just tap my shoulder? Mercury shook her head, and they both went back to observing the water. That's when Mercury felt something grab her leg and flip her over. Hey, Master, what did you do that for? She asked. Do what? Link asked. I didn't touch you. Oh, we're going to do this for a while, are we? They both then got the sudden feeling that something strange was going on. Then, ellipses, they saw it! A nice, big, tasty cucumber. A small tentacle was waving them through the wire. The wire around it began to bubble and bubble. Link and Mercury backed up a bit, and then, ellipses, there he was, Just a swimming down the street, singing doo-wah-diddy-dee-dum, diddy-dum. Giant aquatic amoeba. Morpha. Ba-ba-ba-boom. Gotcha, didn't I? He mocked him. I got plenty more where that came from. Plenty more like teasing? Oh no! Scary. Mercury and Link's expressions curled into angry sneers. We don't have time for your games, Morpha, Link said as he drew his sword. Mercury stood her ground. So give up now, before I make a mess of you. Morpha snorted. Oh, please! He then quickly pointed over behind him. Hey, look at that! Oopsies. Mercury and Link turned around. Look at what? This! Morpha shouted as his huge body stirred Mercury, lifted her up in the air. Ah, Master. Mercury! Cried Link. Let her go right now. What do you say? Morph began to seek Mercury all around the pool, eventually throw her like a javelin to the other side of the room. You're all right, Mercury? Link called out. I'm okay, she answered. Now let's go. Link nodded. He waited until Morpha tried to grab him. He dodged the tentacle and took one big slash of his sword, Ozzy's, but the sword passed on through Morpha's body with a small splash. What? Oh, Morpha chuckled. Close, but doesn't cut the water. He slammed his tentacle down again and Link dodged it. Mercury, Ellipses. He's made of water. Excuse me, moment. Chosen da, Sharaku! Mercury was right along to dodge the tentacles, so we're chasing her. Can't seem to go hold still so I can scan for a weakness. Of course you can't, you miserable brat, growled Morpha. He disappeared on the wire, then popped up to resume slamming. Woo! Slamming! Jamming! Woo! I have master control all of the wire. You can never get close enough to attack me. He was right, too. Every time Link or Mercury tried to get near him, Morpha would either grab them and toss them hard to the other side of the room, Ellipses, or he'd sink back into the pool and reappear somewhere else unexpectedly. Even if they could attack him, Ellipses, what with? Electricity. He made it entirely of wire. The only thing that would stand a chance again would be electricity or grass attack. Electricity or grass attacks. I'm okay with the electricity, but when did every single monster in Legend of Zelda turn into a Pokemon? Besides, something that major, I ain't going to defeat it. I'm going to find a way to catch it. I mean, as long as we're doing this, let's rock! One Pokemon battle later. And that's how I caught me a Morpha. But neither Link nor Mercury had that kind of power in them. Okay, so here's what we do. We leave the room, go outside into the grassy field, and start collecting some grass-type Pokemon. I prefer an honest. That was what I got in my first run playthrough of Pokemon Red. Whack! Link got bashed in the face hard, and Mercury got whipped from behind. They weren't hurt too badly, but still were beaten hard. Far too easy. Morpha snickered. Tell you what, Lucy's, if you do behave and give me the 2 Triforce stones you have, Lucy's, I'll let you join my army. Mercury and Link sneered at the proposal. Us join you? Snapped Mercury. Forget it. Link nodded in agreement. I'd rather die 1,000 deaths before considering to team up with the dark side. No, please, can we not do any Star Wars references? I'm personally scared of those. Fine then, that could be raids. Morpha went wild again. Mercury dodged his blow, but Link was cornered with no place to run. I got you now, hero! Morpha bellowed as he charged forward. Your shots are mine! Master, cried Mercury, get out of there. Link looked around him, and his only chance to it was to hookshot his way out of this. Hopefully, his shot would go right through the Morpha's body and drag him safely through it, and onto the other side. Here goes nothing, he cried as he fired his hookshot, but strangely, instead, when the hookshot slammed the Morpha's body, it pulled something straight out from the water and into Link's hands. Huh? What? Link pulled out what appeared to be a gigantic nucleus that was floating around in the water body.
You! Ellipses, how could you?
The nucleus growled, and left up and began bouncing Link's face like a ball before banging back into the water. Mercury and Link also realized that Morpho's water body seemed to have vanished. It's gone. Where did it go?
Suddenly, it reappeared again. That's better,
Morpho said.
Now, where were we? Ah, yes.
He began to attack the duo again. Once again, more problems when you try to put in bad guy strategies and bad guy thoughts from video games into the real world, or in this case, into a literature feature. You gotta ask, why isn't the bad guy thinking of some new strategies or trying to be smart about his style? For instance, if I were to write a Robotnik battle, we all know that in the games, Robotnik has to follow a certain pattern. That's the way. But in the story, you gotta sit back and ask, why is it Robotnik just swinging the ball this way in an X formation rather than left or right? Or why is it Robotnik trying some new way of swinging that ball? In the games, he can't, but in real life, you're standing on a 3-dimensional plane, not 2D.
You begin to make me angry, both of you, he roared. Give up while you still have a chance. I can go on forever.
But Link and Mercury just kept running. Mercury, did you see what happened? Mercury nodded. He just pulled out that tiny nucleus from his body, and it vanished. What's more, replied Link, that nucleus was talking to me with Morpho's voice. They stopped for a moment. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Link asked. Oh, it's like so, Link, but how are we ever going to convince the youths to dwell Tutu? Mercury snickered with a sneaky look on her face. They may have just discovered what Morpho's weakness was. They stood their ground and way down. Hey, you over a back of wetlands? Over here! Morpho turned and growled loudly.
I'll make you wish you hadn't said that.
He then began to charge right for him. He moved closer and closer, and then... Ellipses. Mercury fired her hook shot and snatched the nucleus from the body, dragging it closer to the land. Ah, got you, said Mercury as he held onto the slippery cell with all her might.
Hey, let me go,
growled Morpho. That was all the evidence the duo needed. The nucleus was in fact Morpho's true form. It just had control of the wire. So, if they could destroy it, they would finish him off. Anyone care for soccer? Link chuckled as he gave the nucleus a huge kick back into the pool. The nucleus was now blazing red with anger. Formed another water tentacle.
So you discovered my weakness. Perhaps I underestimated you, he snickered. But don't think you'll escape here alive to tell it.
We'll see about that, Link snapped, and the fight was on. The tables turned Morpho, because with their hookshot upgraded, they could stand far away from him without him being able to grab them. Then they could grab hold of the nucleus, perform a series of punishment and attacks before it head back into the water to resume its aqua form. Morpho had taken a lot of damage, and by this point he decided to make a fight unequal. If not, Lucy tip it back in his favor. Give up, Morpho, compelled Link. Don't wait to beat us. That's right, added Mercury. When the two of us work as a team, Ellipses, they always come out victorious. The nucleus for a moment just puffed and panted as it sat there on one of the 4 pillars, and then began to laugh maniacally.
You're right about one thing,
he said. He plunged into the water and made another tackle by Ellipses, along with 4 other tackles.
Teamwork, it's great, Ellipses. I prefer to have more than 2.
There was no less than 3 tackles poking around different sections of the pool. Only one had the nucleus in it, but the rest of them were just being controlled. But nevertheless, now Link and Mercury were once again on the defensive. This time they had several tackles rather than just the one tackle to dodge. They barely had enough space to run around without getting slammed on. Even if they had a chance to shoot for the nucleus was able to hop from one tackle to another, avoid capture, while the empty tentacles could grab the duo and toss them around like rag dolls. Link and Mercury couldn't stand up to any more of the punishment. But what were they to do? As long as the nucleus has the other tentacles to hide it, we can't touch it, Link said. There has to be some way we can render the tentacles useless and trap the nucleus, Mercury said.
And suddenly, she had an idea. She got up and ran towards the pool.
Mercury, what are you doing? There's a pool. I'm going to swim in my bathing suit. Just me, he called back to him. Mercury knew that if the nucleus had the complete control over the water, what would happen if the nucleus had no water to control? Even though she remembered what Link told her about trying to stunt, now seemed like a perfect time to forget. All Morpho's tackles focused on Mercury.
Here I come! Here it up!
He roared with swift rays and began to charge towards her. Mercury first blasted her hook shot, It scared the nucleus out of its tentacle. Ha! You
missed me! Hey!
I planned on it. Mercury said with wicked smirk. Summoned up all her power. Mercury has bubbles. Ellipses. Freeze!
Nucleus was horrified. Oh! What have you done? He bellowed. All my precious water is now completely frozen!
Mercury, great move, Link said. Mercury nodded her head. Morpha may be in control of all the water, but if you can't get through to it, my bus can do anything. Morpha's weakness had been exposed. Now the nucleus couldn't get through the ice and was completely defenseless. Mercury also used her ice arrows to freeze the nucleus on the spot.
Stop! He cried in pain. Ellipses! Get it! Ellipses! Weak! Ellipses!
Finally, the nucleus was weak enough to distort Ellipses. What better way to do it than tons of electricity? Link got out of his mask.
Go, fierce deity!
He changed it to his strongest form.
Alright, Morpha, get her out of here!
Ready for a big blowout. He pulled out his double helix sword. It began to glow.
I'll see you dead yet!
Morpha growled. No, Morpha, said Mercury. See you at the bottom of the sea. Well, that doesn't really work well. We're at a sea here, and I gotta work on my one-liners. Link's sword was ready to go. Sacred fierce deity! Helix sword attack! See, you don't need ellipses to do breakup. You just say it like a boss! Ellipses, ellipses, ellipses. He fired a strong bolt of lightning at the nucleus. It's working. The nucleus was beginning to break up. The temple was beginning to crumple. Link transformed back to his regular form. Let's get out of here, he cried. Luckily, the tube of blue light appeared right alongside the pool, so they both hopped in and were gone. Rocks were starting to tumble down from the ceiling, and suppressor's water blasted the walls down, and Morpha was doomed.
Master, you must help me get out of here,
he cried. Just then, a holographic image of Ganondorf appeared. Help me escape? I'll do not such thing, he said with a sneer.
What?
Ganondorf pointed to the king of Water Beasts. You worthless piece of evil, he growled. I've been leading you on the whole time. You destroyed Volgamia, and after all the times I continuously order you to not hear fear, you disobeyed me, Ellipses, destroyed one of my finest warriors. Worst of all, you let the kids and sailors get away. So prepare for your punishment. He powered a shell ball in his hand and blasted at Morpha. Absorbing his air, he disintegrated him completely.
Master, no, yo,
Riley, I have all I need to feel my next greatest thing! Ganondorf chuckled. Enjoy this victory while you can, hero, and Sinner Sensi, Ellipses. It'll be your last! Outside, Ellipses. The whole resort was under the stress of an earthquake, Ellipses. Up in the snowstorm that was due to the water temple breaking up.
Everyone, get back!
Cried the 4-minute lake inspectors. Everyone ran for the hills as the huge rock exploded into a huge hydroblast that was gone. Serena's folks and Sammy were really worried for Serena and friends weren't all with them. So they were okay, Ellipses. Link and Mercury had landed safely along the shores opposite the lake. Mercury, Ellipses. Link panted. You alright? Mercury slowly got to her feet. I never thought we'd make it, she panted. But it sure feels good to be back on dry land. I have to agree with that, came a voice from behind. Oh, come on. You know you want to. Yeah, you're right, I do. Link and Mercury thought it sounded like Lita. When they turned around, they were surprised at Ellipses. They were in a blue to a light. It was a half-human, half-fist-like creature, Ellipses. Exactly the same from Link's story. It was Princess Ruto of the Zoras in the Sage of Wire. She giggled. Link sighed and held out his hands to his head. Ruto? He said, sounding embarrassed. Don't tell me you're still on about that stuff. Ruto said. Mercury couldn't help but giggle. Ruto, cut it out already, Link said. You know very well you and I were never really much of an iron to begin with. Sounds like somebody's miffed at the shippers! Ruto sighed. She said. Link and Mercury's head snapped up. What did she say about Zelda?
Ruto, what are you playing at? Link said. You know full well that I do Zelda's gone. Ellipses. See, that says.
Ruto then shook her head. Link's heart was beginning to race. Ruto, ellipses, what are you trying to tell me? He asked with a mixture of excitement and happiness in his eyes. Wait, ellipses, you mean, ellipses, is she? Ruto nodded. Link collapsed to his knees as tears of happiness streamed down his face. She's, ellipses, she's alive, he cried, and fell back and began to cry. It's, ellipses, a miracle. Mercury felt so happy for him. His true love was still out there. Yep, Malon was still out there. She was closer than they all knew. Yep, we all know Link's gonna find Malon. Mercury! Master! Mercury turned around, saw all the others coming up to him. Thank goodness you're all safe, Luna said. Who's this? Darien asked as he gestured to Ruto. This is Ruto, Saint of Water, Mercury answered. They all noticed Link was on the ground, tears of happiness. Ruto said. Everyone was shocked. One, because he couldn't blame Link for being so happy. The other was because, ellipses, Lita, ellipses, she sounds just like you. We got it! You want the same voice actress! We get it! Although personally I don't see how they would sound alike. I personally would prefer Wendy Lee, but we get it! Lita approached Ruto's image, and the two of them both shocked that their voices were identical. Ellipses. They pointed at each other and, ellipses, she sounds like me, they said the same again. You know, I'm ignoring the argument right now. Because I want to point out, these people, why do people just say, oh, gods, I hope they do a reference to one of these things because this one is a fan, or, hey, isn't it weird that this one character looks like this other guy who's in a movie? Newsflash, people! But people look like others all the time. Hell, I've heard people sound like me, and I sound like my mother. I sound like my little brother. That happens. I don't know what to say. Life's weird. People do that. They sometimes look at each other. Doesn't mean a dang thing. She said. She held out her arms, and there was a blue medallion. It hovered about, advances Mercury's chest. Long last, the fourth medallion was attained. Mercury was now awakened, and the Sage of Water was reborn. We did it, Mercury said softly. We have the water medallion. Everyone was very grateful for Mercury, and for Link too, even though he was still spaced out now that he knew the truth. Riddle disappeared as she let them all with. Season 1 was gone. No sooner had Ruto left than the lake began to bubble, and the water slowly began to rise back up to its regular level, as well as the frozen winds had ceased. Link finally got up from his daze. Guess when we crossed the temple, restored the lake back to normal, he said. And so you did, came a female voice from behind him. It was Sheik, in everyone's opinion, ellipses. That girl had the strangest habit of appearing out of nowhere. Sheik, Link said, ellipses. Ruto. Sheik stopped him. I know, ellipses. And I accept her greeting, she said. But look at what you and Sailor Mercury have accomplished, Link. She's gestured to him with a gaze at the lake, once again filled with pure water, like it was before. Mercury, ellipses, Link, ellipses, she said, I have but a melody to teach you both, if you care to listen, as it will help you on your quest. Everyone turned back to face Sheik. Time passes, ellipses, people move, ellipses, like a river's flow, it never ends, replied Sheik. Child's mind will turn to noble ambition, ellipses, young love will become deep affections, ellipses, a clear water's surface reflects growth. Now, listen to the serenade of water, ellipses, to reflect upon yourselves. She got out her harp and began to play 5 very mystical notes. Link repeated the sequence with his Orgarana, and the song started. Everyone felt as though there were ellipses flowing down a magic river with the melody playing. Wow, what a song, ellipses, said Ray. Never heard anything like it before, said Mina. The song ended, and she put her harp away. Link, ellipses, sailors, ellipses, we shall meet again. And like before, he was gone in a flash. Now that is one strange dudette, said Darien. Maru, have you ever realized just how useless you are? Even though the resort was back to normal, most of the people did decide to head back home on account of the weekend was almost over. Yeah, Sunday was almost done. On the train ride home that evening, once again, Serena and Ray had scuffed down several pork chops, much to everyone's dismay. So did everyone have a good time? Asked Serena's dad. Everyone agreed that they had fun, at least apart from their sailor secrets. Hey, where are Ami and Link? Asked Serena's mom. Well, strange as was, Link and Gregory were both kind of beat from the excitement they had that day. So after helping at dinner, they went right back to bed. Amy, of course, was thinking about all the studying he had to do once he got home. As for Link, ellipses, well, ellipses, pretty obvious what was on his mind. I'll find you, Zelda. You're out there somewhere, somehow, somewhen. Ellipses, but I will find you. And somehow there is a meaning that task and have to be important. And no, I am not going to use this song from Winnie the Pooh. I think that was too emotional, too sad to put in. So there. Nee.